Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are here for another night of racing here from Long Beach, USA in the Clio Cup here at Motive. Currently watching Tier 2 as these guys get their cars through their paces and get ready to embark on round 4 of the season. And it's been a compelling championship so far here in Tier 2 so far this season. Currently sat at the top of the leaderboard here in Tier 2 is actually James XB, currently in the pits at the moment, coming towards the end of the pit lane to start what I assume will be a run, but he's currently sat P3 in this session, 1.1 seconds off of the pole time, which is currently being set by the Mutts Nuts, who had a good debut last week at Snetterton. Managed to finish in second place in last week's race. It was a very impressive first outing from him, and he's really excelling at the moment as he brings it out of the final hairpin. Let's see if he can go even faster at the moment. He's currently got 2/10 in hand over Chris Pissock as he comes under the Toyota bridge and up over the line, and he does improve. He goes a tenth quicker, so he moves up to 3/10 faster than Chris Pissock. Let's see what Chris is doing at the moment. He's coming through the middle sector now. Let's keep an eye on his split times and see what sort of lap times he's doing. It doesn't look like he's up on his personal best at this stage in the lap. But let's keep an eye on Chris and see what he gets up to as he's coming through the final sector now. Nathan Rutter goes third, moves himself up. He's 6/10 off a pole at the moment. He'll get a chance to do a couple more laps before this session does actually reach its finish. And it looks like Chris has gone slamming into the wall there and brings it into the pits, abandons that run. So it looks like he's given up on that one being a personal best. James Dudley's out there on a lap time as well, and he looks like he's 2/10 up on his personal best. Currently sat P5 in this session, 1.7 seconds off the pace. You got Emo Guy, last week's race winner at Snetterton. Used to not like the Clios very much, but he's grown to them, or rather they've grown on him, and he's actually become quite a specialist in these Clios. Last week we saw him making an unbelievable move up the inside to take the lead a few laps from the end, and he managed to pull out quite a considerable gap at the end as well. So we know he's got the pace in these cars, our Flying Scotsman, and regular commentator here for our Tier 1 championships. Always joins me in the box to chat about his race here in Tier 2 and can offer some insightful analysis whenever these Tier 1 boys are going round. He's absolutely chomping at the bits to join those boys on the track next season. I'm not quite sure what I'll do next season when we've got him in Tier 1. I'll have to commentate by myself, I think, but for the time being we'll have him for tonight for at least 3 more races. Here he comes over the line. What's he going to do? He goes P4 in this session, 8/10 of a second off of pole position. He goes 1.2 seconds quicker, and he had the benefit of a little bit of slipstream there ahead of him, which definitely helped him out as we see him go into the wall. We're almost losing the car, and just about keeping it together. Try and figure out who that was in the foreground there, giving Emo Guide a tow. It looks like it was Nathan Rutter. Oh, no, it wasn't Nathan Rutter. Was it James Dudley? It was James Dudley. So currently P5 in this session. These guys actually very close on pace. Barely anything separating them in terms of their lap times at the moment. James Dudley currently 9/10 off of pole, just about skimming that tyre bar on the left hand side, but avoiding it, managing to keep it within the track limits here as he comes up towards turn 5. Let's see if James Dudley can nail this section of the track, this middle sector. It's a make or break part of this lap here at Long Beach, and it looks like James Dudley's pretty tidy so far. Keep an eye on those split times as he comes towards the end of this middle sector, which is at the end of this straight. Now the exits out of these corners really are pivotal to your lap time, because you just have to sit there with the foot on the accelerator planted to the floor. There's nothing else you can do. The exit, the traction that you get is so vital in every part of the track. It looks like James Dudley's, he's hit the wall there, coming through towards the end of the middle sector. It looks like the Mutts Nuts has gone even faster at the top of the timing boards. He's gone half a second quicker than Chris Pissock. Chris Pissock's now going to have to pull his finger out in the dying embers of this session if he wants to get himself up onto pole position. Currently sat P2, James XB, our championship leader, has put himself into third place, 8/10 off a pole. He's 2.5 up here on this lap. Quarter of a second for those of you who don't know what that is, but it looks like James is coming towards the end of the middle sector now. Nathan Rutter improves. He's up to P3. What can James XP do in the final part of this session? 20 seconds left on the clock. The Mutts Nuts, Chris Pissock, Nathan Rutter, James XP, Emo Guy. These guys are all out on lap times at the moment. They can still improve. These are the top 5 as it stands. You've got James Dudley sat in P6. A long gap back to Juvie in P6. It looks like James has hit the wall there, and that's surely going to put pay to his chances of a good lap time. He's still only a tenth down though on his personal best, despite that hefty whack into the wall. No, he's given up. He's bailed out of that lap, and that is the session over there for James XB. Emo guy out there on a lap time. Let's try and figure out who's furthest up the track. It looks like it's the Mutts Nuts, surely. I think the Mutts Nuts is going to be the next man over the line. Current provisional pole sitter, who's got a massive gap in hand. Half a second clear. Hold on a second. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. So it is going to be Mutts Nuts in the end, taking pole position at the top of qualifying by 7/10, improved his lap time there right at the very end of the session. Chris Pissock's going to be lining up alongside him on the front row. A long way down though in terms of overall lap time. You've got Nathan Rutter and James XB, Emo Guy and James Dudley, DJ Phil, Duvey, Hyper Drifter and Scrabble Kieran rounding out the top 10. Then you've got Gypsy George lining up at the back with it all to do here. George has got a hell of a task on his hands if he wants to get himself into top 5 position here in this race. Guys, thank you to everybody for joining us live on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. If you want to get involved, go to the Discord server, just click on our YouTube homepage. In the top right there'll be a little icon which says Discord. You can click on that and it will take you straight to the action. With that being said, we are going to proceed to the next screen and get this tier 2 race underway. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moments away from lights out here for tier 2 here at Long Beach. Round 4 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup. These boys just making their final adjustments to their setups before we will be underway for this one. A few of these boys flashing their lights here, trying to get in their heads of their opponents here as we just go into the final preparations here for this one. It looks like we are locked in and ready to go. They're just thinking here, the race lobby getting prepared to go lights out, and here we go. 5 red lights. When they go out, we will be racing here at Long Beach, and there they are. We are underway. Looks like a good start there from the Mutts Nuts. Gets away perfectly. Looks like Chris Pissock in the end got a decent getaway. James gets jumped past Nathan Rutter immediately, and you can see in the background Emo Guy looking to the inside as well as they come towards turn 1. It's a long run up towards the first corner here. It looks like the Mutts Nuts has got the lead though coming into turn 1. On the inside, it looks like James is looking to the inside. Nathan Rutter thought about sorry, that was James. James then thought about going up the inside of Nathan, but in the end had to back out of it. Through the roundabout we go, and it looks like Scrabble Kirian's made an unbelievable start up into P4 in the first couple of corners. What a getaway there from him. DJ fell up into P6. It looks like Chris Pissock's dropped down to P5. You got Hyper Drifter into 7th place. James Dudley drops down to 8th from 6th on the grid. You got Gypsy George up 2 places. It looks like Emo Guy's lost the car. No, it's not Emo Guy. It's Nathan Rutter. Nathan Rutter with a horrible start to this race. He's down in P10. Off of the first lap, we saw him making inroads straight away up into P2. Was in between the Nuts and James XB. We didn't quite catch what happened there, but he's dropped way down the field. Now 11 seconds off of the pace. He's battling out with Juvie in the battle for 10th and 11th place. But it is Nuts who leads here on lap 1. 1.3 seconds is his gap. James XB running in 2nd place, 1.2 seconds behind him. We've got DJ Phil up into 3rd place. What a start here from DJ Phil, getting but it clouts the wall there, coming through that last sector, and he's going to be passed on the outside there by, that looks like his Hyper Drifter there, driving clean round him. He's going to have the inside for the hairpin. Looks like Hyper Drifter there, giving the wall a hefty whack there, and DJ Phil has to get out of it and slam the brakes on to avoid contact there. But good racing from these boys. Looks like Scrabble Kieran up into 3rd place. What a start from this young man here. He's really got that thing hooked up. Started in P10. 7 places he has gained here on the opening lap. That is nothing short of incredible here. But we got 2 wide in the background here. It looks like DJ Phil is looking to the inside here of Hyper Drifter, but he can't get it done. Oh no, somebody's gone off. And you can see there the Scrabble Kieran had to slam on the brakes to avoid running straight into, I think that that must have been Hyper Drifter there, surely, but almost, that almost ended in tears. We see Hyper Drifter getting sideways here and almost running into the barriers. This guy's racing in close quarters. There's nowhere to go here. The barriers are never more than a few meters away, as we see almost a little bit of contact there. These guys just about avoiding each other there. That was James Dudley and Juvie. Just about threading the needle. You can see here Hyper Drifter looking to the outside here, and he's gone straight on. Hyper Drifter almost going into the barrier there, and just about avoiding. In fact, he does go into the barrier, and in the meantime you can see James Dudley is just in front of Nathan Rutter and Juvie. These guys going side by side. Looks like Nathan Rutter has got the position though. Nathan Rutter up into P7 here after a turbulent start to this race. Managed to get him to P2 after the first couple of turns, and then made a horrible howler as he came around lap 1, and he's back up into 7th place, making progress once again. But the top 2 here, the Nuts and James, making the most of that early carnage that we saw, and they've now got a 13-second lead, 13 seconds over the rest of the pack. The Nuts with a 2-second lead over James. James obviously the championship leader here for the Clio Cup for Tier 2. So he will be looking to get some good points here and continue in that type of form that we've seen before last week's race at Snetterton last week. Last week was an absolute mare for James. He became hopelessly detached and ended up, I think, retiring from the race. I think it might not have been a retirement. Might stand corrected on that, but it was definitely a very topsy-turvy race for him. He's looking to respond here in this one. He's running in P2 at the moment, but the battle for P3 still looking very, very hot. DJ Phil, Scrabble Kieran, Emo Guy, James Dudley, Nathan Rutter and Juvie running within about a second of each other. As we see there, we've got Emo Guy looking to the inside there of Scrabble. They're going to make it 3 wide here, coming between turns 3 and 4. And who's going to back out of this one here? We can see almost going 4 wide here. And it looks like Scrabble Kieran late on the brakes. He almost runs into the wall, but it looks like he gets it done. Phenomenal driving here from Scrabble Kieran. He's now pushing out Emo Guy. Emo Guy trying to defend from Nathan Rutter, who's making more progress here, we see. Nathan Rutter had a good qualifying session, always goes quick in these Clios, but we didn't see some good composure here on this opening lap. He binned it into the wall and lost a lot of places, ended up last. As we see here now, Nathan looking to the inside of Emo Guy, late on the brakes. It looks like he's going to get it done. Emo Guy in the end sensibly backing out of that one. In the background there's a collision. There's a collision there between, I think that's James Dudley there, going into the wall and losing places to DJ Phil and Juvie, and he's falling back into the clutch of the Gypsy George as well. But battle for P3 still staying like it was. You can see Scrabble Kieran here is still trying to fend off Nathan Rutter. Let's have a look and see what Juvie is seeing at the back of this pack. You can see on board with him coming down this pit straight. It looks like in the foreground you can see Scrabble Kieran and Nathan Rutter side by side there at the front of this little train. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. And it looks like Scrabble's looking to the outside there, trying to hang it around Nathan Rutter, but he's just about held on to it. Nathan has to back out of that one coming into the roundabout. Great stuff here, and it looks like oh my goodness, DJ Phil, no sorry, Emo Guy there, losing it by himself. Emo Guy, he's losing it all by himself, getting up on 2 wheels on the curb, coming through the roundabout, and he looks like he's in all sorts of bother here. Disastrous for our Scotsman there. He winner in last week's feature race for the Tier 2s at Snetterton. Almost coming together there with Hyper Drifter. It's gone horribly wrong as we see Nathan Rutter into the wall. Unbelievable stuff. Scrabble released back into third place. It looks like DJ Phil's got past him as well. So this is an unbelievable battle for P3. These guys hopelessly losing time to the guys up front, the Mutts Nuts and James, but I'm sure that this is, well, they're holding each other up, but at the end of the day, this is unbelievable racing between these boys. Scrabble, Kiri and DJ Phil and Nathan Rutter still separated by a second here. And it looks like James Dudley and Gypsy George have dropped off this pack. Gypsy George is closing onto the back of James Dudley actually. Last time around he was 2 seconds quicker than James. Juvie and Emo Guy dropping way back off these guys. Or Juvie, no, he's still sticking to the back of Gypsy George actually, to be fair to him. But Emo Guy and Hyper Drifter here running in 9th and 10th, and it looks like they have well and truly lost touch with these boys at the front. In the meantime though, race leader the Mutts Nuts made his debut last week in round 3 of the Motor Racing's Clio Cup at Snetterton. Finished in P2 in that one, very, very impressive, and it looks like he's planning to go one better this week. He's got the championship leader 3 seconds behind him running in P2. Obviously James XB, oh, there he is, James XB with it all to lose. He's got a 17 point lead in the championship, so he is somewhat running away at the front, at the top of the leaderboard, but he's going to be really looking to try and cement his position at the top of the championship. He has been doing an excellent job this season. It does look like we've had a retirement from the race. Not sure who that was. It looks like it might have been George actually. Gyps George, unfortunately, there pulling out of the race. But in the meantime, it's James Dudley. Looks like he's gone into the wall once again in the wars. And Scrabble Kyrian, oh no! Scrabble Kyrian was running in 3rd place, but he's dropped off the leaders here. I didn't actually catch what happened there. We just saw the aftermath of what looked to be a hefty whack. Scrabble Kyrian running in the Nicholas Hamilton livery, Lewis Hamilton's younger brother here. And it looks like he's being closed in on a little bit by Juvie. Juvie was very late on the brakes going into the hairpin. Just about managed to get it stopped and avoiding Scrabble as he come out of the last turn and onto the pit straight here. Brilliant racing from all of these guys, but they're all losing time to the 2 leaders while they battle it out. Nathan Rutter is now in some clear air, and we can really start to see what he's capable of doing here. Now he has got that clean slate, and he hasn't got anyone holding him up. Obviously had a turbulent start to this race, ended up in 2nd place after turn 1, but it all went horribly wrong after that, and by the end of the first lap he was sat in 10th place. Obviously we had a couple of retirements, 9 runners still left in this race. We see Evo Guy here, looks like he's got the move done on Hyper Drifter, but Hyper Drifter into the wall on the entrance to the roundabout. Very unfortunate there. Looks like he's getting it going once again. We're seeing a few comments coming in on the YouTube stream. JR Lock and Load saying that lad is doing 130s, he's flying. Yeah, the Mutts Nuts here up front in only his 2nd race in the Clio Cup here at Motive, doing a phenomenal job. Hats off to him for getting his head down and clearing off into the distance here. 131 that time around. Let's see what James is doing as he comes over now. Championship leader James is in the 1 minute 32s. Sorry guys, I just hiccuped there. Nathan Rutter running in P3. Obviously he had a bit of traffic earlier on in the race, was struggling to find some clear air and show what his true potential is, but it looks like he's finally got that clean break that he needed. Let's see what sort of lap times he's doing now he is in clear air. Let's keep an eye on the split times on the left hand side here. And Nathan last time around 1 minute 31, bettered only by the race leader the Mutts Nuts. So that is proof in the pudding. If you needed any of Nathan Rutter's true potential here in these Clios, definitely should have been up there at the front fighting for the win, but he's currently 25 seconds off of the race lead due to the close racing, narrow street circuit nature here of Long Beach. It was impossible for him to get into that clear air and start chasing these guys down because he had so many cars boxed in within a metre of each other, not even that, within inches of each other going side by side. We saw 3-4 wide in the opening few laps, and it looks like we've got a couple of cars batting over 6th here, Juvie and Emo Guy, with nothing at all separating them. You can see Juvie going defensive. Emo Guy is looking to make progress. Emo Guy was our race winner last week at Snetterton, but he's running in P7 this time around it's not gone to plan at all for the Flying Scotsman. And these boys have also got DJ Phil closing in on them in the background while they battle it out as well. So they're going to have to be wary of Phil. Phil doing a wink, as is Juvie. And Emo guys look like his headlights have been completely and utterly, totally wiped out. They are gone, non-existent. And looks like, yeah, DJ Phil definitely closing on these boys. And also one to look out for is Hyper Drifter, still running in P9. Some good points you get for 9th place here. You get 35 for a win, all the way down to 16th when you get 1 point for finishing the race. So there's something for everyone here. If you manage to finish the race, you always get a reward here at Motive Racing. For all the way down the field. Battle at the front. The Mutts Nuts has got a 4-second lead, but interestingly, the man in P2, James, actually took 1.3 seconds out of him on the last lap. So this is definitely race on here at the front. The Mutts Nuts looking, he's not safe from James, I tell you that. James is keeping his head down, plugging away, and he's starting to get into a rhythm now. It took him a little while. The championship leader, here he is, James XB. There he is, championship leader. Took him a little while to get into a rhythm tonight. He's looks like he's finally getting those tyres where he needs them, and putting some good lap times in. You can see the gap at the front is 4.7 as he comes out of the last turn. Let's keep an eye on the split times and see what they're doing over the line. The Mutts Nuts doing an absolutely sensational lap time last time around. 1 minute 30.8. James 6/10 of a slower that time around. So JR has mentioned that this ridiculously quick lap times at the front. We're seeing here we've got in the background we've got DJ Phil and Juvie running within a second of each other. Looks like Emo Guy has made a mistake somewhere and has dropped off at these guys 2 seconds back. Disaster here for Ian. Red Reaper there saying Ian's constantly fighting tonight. Yeah, he's been in the wars a little bit. It hasn't been the smoothest of sailing tonight for Emo Guy in this one. It's unfortunate to see him struggling so much here at Long Beach. Last week was a absolute joy to watch. Emo Guy was classed of the field at Snetterton, but it hasn't worked out at all this time around on the other side of the pond. As we see here, DJ Phil has put a little bit of breathing space between himself and Juvie. DJ Phil is really starting to get the hammer down now, and he's into some clear air. P6 at the moment. That is some very good championship points there for DJ Phil if he can keep up this sort of performance here. JR Sim Racing saying tier 2 pace is really strong tonight. Yeah, I'm very impressed with these boys actually, especially the Mutts Nuts and James. And Nathan Rutter, to be fair to him, now he's running in clear air, is really starting to put in some impressive times. In fact, last time around, Nathan Rutter, running in P3, here he is, actually went faster than anybody else out on the track. Faster than the race leader, faster than the man in P2, fastest of anyone. I believe that is the fastest lap of the race as well. I'm not absolutely certain on that. If anybody in the comments watching the stream, let me know if anyone's done a lap faster than 1 minute 30.7. As far as I know, I don't think anybody has, but I stand corrected if I only stand corrected if I'm wrong, but you know what I mean. But in the meantime, it looks like Evo Guy is closing onto the back of Juvie here in the battle for 7th and 8th. We've got Linus Stern here down this back straight. And we've got 10 minutes left to go here in this session. Ten minutes left to go until the end of this race here for Tier 2 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup. And it's been a hell of a race. We've seen battling throughout the field, and the battle at the front still not settled. 5 seconds between these two boys. The Mutts Nuts there running in P1, and James XB, there he is in the background, our championship leader, running in P2 at the moment. But James XB took a little while to get going here. He obviously had the benefit of avoiding the early collisions that we saw at the start of this race, and there was a big long train of cars in the background fighting over the same piece of tarmac between I think third and eighth place. So it wasn't it wasn't easy for everybody else. He did get slightly fortuitous. He hasn't really been able to match the pace of the Mutts Nuts overall, although certain laps he's been matching him, certain laps he's been bettering him, but on a general trend, the Mutts Nuts has been the man to beat so far in this race. Fully deserves to be out in front, 5.7 seconds to the good. It'd be interesting to see if James can pull something together, or if the Mutts Nuts tyres start to go off, in which case the race will start to come back to James. As we see, we've got a battle here going on between 6th and 7th. DJ Phil is trying to defend here from Juby. Juby looks to the inside here, pulls out to the right, and he's going to make the move coming into turn 1. It looks like DJ Phil's going to leave the door absolutely wide open, but DJ Phil's late on the brakes. It looks like Juby's got the position though on the inside, hugs the curve, and that is the position done for Juby. Good move there, and also clean driving from Phil. Good awareness to see him coming. Juby now is next up for him will be James Dudley, who we can see in the foreground just ahead of these guys. Emo Guy also chasing these guys down as well, so he's definitely not out of this fight here. Definitely, I'm sure we'll still be looking to get involved in this action here. And it has been some fantastic action tonight here live on the Motive Racing channel. And guys, if you want to get involved here at Motive Racing, then be sure to visit our Discord server. All you need to do is go to our YouTube homepage, click the icon in the top right hand corner that says Discord, and you can become a part of the action that you see on the track in front of your very eyes at this moment in time. Just hearing a message here from Chris Pissock on our Discord server saying, hold on, let's see what he's had to say after that. It's Chris Pissock there saying, I apologise, I just had to quit after being knocked into the wall, not my day. Well, Chris, hopefully you'll be raising a steward inquiry about that and we can get that sorted out, because that is not something that we stand for here at Motive. Clean racing community. We admit argy-bargy occurs sometimes, and you know, at the end of the day, that is part of racing, but it's intentionally putting someone in the wall or being negligent and using somebody as a brake is not at all what we condone here. As we see there, looks like DJ Phil is being passed around the outside there by Emo Guy. Emo Guy releasing some clean air, and Juby's hit the wall. Juby into the wall here. P8 down to P8 there, was battling with James Dudley and Emo Guy, but he's had a he was battling with James Dudley, but it looks like he's had a horrible, absolute horror show there coming through turn 2, losing lots and lots of time. He's now over a minute behind the race leader, who is the Mutts Nuts. I'm not talking him up there, his name's actually the Mutts Nuts. I'm not saying he is the Mutts Nuts. I wouldn't use that term anyway, I'd say the dog's bollocks. But anyway, the Mutts Nuts doing a great job here out the front of the field. 5.3 seconds is his gap to the rest of the boys behind him. Very, very impressive driving there from him. Championship leader, James XB. Not too far behind, keeping him in sight, but he hasn't really been a match for him so far this evening. Still 5 minutes and 45 seconds left to go here for this Tier 2 race for round 4 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup here at Long Beach. So if the Mutts Nuts tyres start to go off, then I'm sure James is going to be right there waiting to capitalise. Just keeping an eye on these split times here at the top of the screen. Obviously Nathan Rutter running in P3 has kept these lap times pretty much the same since he managed to get into some clear air past that traffic that we saw on the opening few laps, and what a battle it was between 3rd and 8th place. It was a 6-car train for the opening few laps of the race. We saw them constantly trading positions. Scrabble Kirian was leading that pack for a long time, as was DJ Phil. Scrabble Kirian still running in a fantastic 4th position at the moment. Truly so impressed with this kid here. He's really putting a shift here in this race. Driving the Monster Energy Nick Hamilton livery. Dylan Brassel here saying hit the thumbs up on all the Motive Discord family here. Yeah, indeed, that's what you got to do, guys. If you like what you see, then hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, let us know in the comments what we can do better, what we're doing wrong. We're always open to suggestions. Motive Racing. Currently exclusive to PlayStation 4 Project Cars 2, but we've got some exciting new announcements coming soon, including the potential of bringing Project Cars 2 Xbox leagues to Motive Racing sooner than we thought. The idea was to start this up next year, but we've just had some news today actually that we may be starting up some Xbox One leagues on Project Cars 2 very, very soon. And obviously Assetto Corsa competition coming to the PlayStation 4 at the end of June. Stay tuned for an announcement tomorrow night at 8 PM BST. That is 8 PM UK time tomorrow night. Be sure to have your phones at the ready, turn your notifications on, because there will be an announcement on Facebook. So facebook.com/Motive Racing League. That is facebook.com/Motive Racing League. Type that in, set your notifications on. We will be announcing something tomorrow evening at 8 PM, and it's going to be probably the biggest thing we've done so far here at Motive Racing. And we've got a team of dedicated commentators, league coordinators and admins. Lots of people who are fully committed to providing the best and most authentic sim racing experience here. As I say, well worth getting involved with. Go to our Discord channel to find out more, or facebook.com/Motive Racing League. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Motive Racing. We see the battle for the lead. James taking 2/10 out of race lead in the Mutts Nuts last time around. He's got 4 seconds behind him, so he does appear to be closing that gap a bit, but I fear it may be too late for him. We've got 2 and a bit laps left to go here in this race. The Mutts Nuts seems to be slowing down a little bit. Maybe his tyres are starting to go off just a tad. Having said that though, he's had a good final sector, and he does a 31.0 that time for the Mutts Nuts. Let's see what James does over the line. 31.1. So actually last time around the Mutts Nuts pulling out a 10th to James. So it looks like he should have this one done, barring any major catastrophes here on these final 2 laps. Here's Emo Guy, has had a torrid race this evening, our Scotsman. It's going to be in the box with me for Tier 1 coming up very shortly at 8 PM. Looking forward to having him alongside me. Unfortunately, this one seems to have got away from him. Last week he took the win at Snetterton, as we see Nathan Rutter running out of fuel here on the last lap. He's having to bring it into the pits to refuel his car. That's going to drop him way down the order. I think it's going to be almost last by the time he emerges out at the end of the pit lane. That is absolutely gutting there for Nathan Rutter. It looks like James has had an absolute mare coming through the first sector. He must have hit the wall or had some kind of error, because he's dropped back by 9.5 seconds off of the race lead of the Mutts Nuts. Where is the Mutts Nuts at the moment? He's just coming towards the end of the back straight now. He has got 1 sector to go here at Long Beach, driving in only his 2nd race here in the Clio Cup at Motive Racing, and it is going to be a W here for the Mutts Nuts as he comes into the final hairpin now. Very tidy. He's clean out of the final corner as he comes under the Toyota bridge. It's going to be the Mutts Nuts taking the victory here for round 4 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup. Oh, hold on. Oh, I do apologise. This is oh dear me. That is extremely embarrassing. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just monumentally messed up here. And I've never done this before. I've never ever mistaken, until now, I've never ever mistaken a lap for being the final lap when it wasn't. That is a massive facepalm moment. J Palm there in the comments saying 1 more lap. I do apologise guys, that was just me. Total gaff there. But the Mutts Nuts with half a lap left to go here in this race. Keeping an eye on the battles throughout the pack. We got Juvie, Hyper Drifter and DJ Phil. 3 in a line. Linus Stern coming down his back straight. It looks like these guys have left it too late to get into that 6th spot. Juvie should have it done. Nathan Rutter did emerge in 5th place after his unscheduled late pit stop on the penultimate lap of the race. Here comes the Mutts Nuts now. Right, let's do this again. Nuts in his second appearance here in Motor Racing's Clio Cup. It's coming into the last hairpin now, and it's going to be the win for him. Our Scotsman is going to come at home and take the plaudits here in the USA and showing the Americans how we do it over in the UK. Brilliant job from the Nuts taking the victory. We've got James XB coming round in second position. Scrabble Kieran coming round in third place to complete the podium, benefiting there from Nathan Russ's late pit stop, unscheduled pit stop, or at least she should be holding on for a podium. He's got Mimo Guy just 3 seconds behind him, so it could be touch and go in this battle for third place. You got looks like Scrabble should have it done. JR saying well done top 3. Kurt Hodgson mentioning there what I just I did I did mistake it for the finish. Mechanical Marcus there saying totally gaffed. You mean? Yeah, 100%, 100%. But it is going to be Scrabble Kieran here coming out of the last turn to complete the podium. Very, very proud here to see Scrabble putting in a hell of a performance. He comes over the line, driving Nick Hamilton's car. Third place for Scrabble, great job. Emo Guy in fourth. Our commentator here at Motive, Nathan Rutter, bins it over the line. Hopefully he's alright after that. Hyper Drifter and DJ Phil having a close finish here for 6th and 7th, but it is going to be Hyper Drifter holding on ahead of DJ Phil, and James Dudley completing the classification in 8th position. Some great racing there. The Nuts in the end taking the victory ahead of James and Scrabble Kieran. We're going to see if we can grab a quick interview with the podium finishers here from this race, if possible. Gonna see if we can grab a quick word with these boys and see what they made of that race in general, and just what they think went right, what they think didn't go so well. Just seeing some comments on Discord. Kurt Hodgson saying lap 1 is the new final lap of the race. Oh dear. Right. So, sorry about this. We're just having a look down my friends list to find all of these guys who finished in the top 3 tonight. You got James, you got Scrabble, and obviously the race winner, the Nuts there. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We should hopefully be getting the top 3 guys into the commentary box for a quick chat here. The Nuts taking the win. In the end, looks like James dropped off at the pace on that last lap. Didn't catch what happened to him, but he lost a lot of time there on that last lap. Which managed to take P3 tonight. We saw you having some great battles in the early laps, Scrabble. You were trying to fend off the whole field basically in a battle for between 3rd and 9th place. Tell us from your perspective, how is that to finally get your first podium here at Motive Racing?
I feel great. I've never got this high in a race at all. I'm always normally right at the bottom, but here at Motive, I feel like I can compete with everyone else.
Well, it's great to see that you're able to mix it in with everyone. We saw you putting in some great racecraft. Congratulations. And did you feel at any point like the podium had got away from you? Obviously, Nathan Rutter making that late pit stop. You were running in P4.
Yeah.
Was it a surprise to see that?
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought Nathan would have pulled that away from me, but then looked and he was in the pits. So I took the chance and went away with it.
Well, great job from you. Thank you for joining us in the box, buddy.
Thank you
We've
for
also
having me.
got the Mutts Nuts here, race winner as well, and James XB. We're gonna save our winner for last. We're gonna go to James. James, we saw you were maintaining the gap more or less to the Mutts Nuts for most of the race. It was staying about 4 or 5 seconds, but on the last lap, you dropped a lot of time. You went down to about 9.5, 10 seconds. Didn't quite catch what happened. Tell us from your perspective what happened at the end of that race. Very unfortunate. But I was still leading the championship. You've got a decent lead at the top. Do you reckon you can take P1 in the Tier 2 and get automatic promotion at the end of this season? Do you reckon that's still on the cards? That's it. Keep your head in the game. Well, thank you also, James, for joining us. The Mutts Nuts. Welcome along to the commentary booth. Fantastic victory from yourself. You managed to avoid the early carnage and managed to get a massive break on the rest of the pack. And also setting fastest, not fastest lap actually, that went to Nathan Rutter. But setting some absolute blinders there in that race. Tell us how that felt from your perspective. So, practice definitely pays off here at Motive, and it's good to see you taking a win in only a second race at Motive. And I know it's a long shot, obviously starting midway through the season, but are you looking to get in that top five, potentially a promotion spot? That'd be good to see you. Definitely fast enough. We'll have to see. Thank you very much for joining us, boys. We're gonna have to. Yeah, thank you. A great racing out there from all of you, and also to the rest of the field: Emo Guy, Nathan Rutter, Hyperdrifter, DJ Phil, James Dudley, Juvie, Gypsy George. You all put in a great show. Also, Chris Pissick, who unfortunately left us midway through. Thank you to the top three guys on the podium for joining us in the box. We're going to get off air and we're going to be back in 5-10 minutes or so for the Tier 1 race here at Long Beach for the Clio Cup at Motive Racing. Thank you everybody for joining us on this stream. We'll be back live on air in a few moments time. Thank you, boys. See you soon. Thanks, buddy. See you in a bit.